where he can control where his gas exits from.
Like he can either burp or fart?
Yes.
No way.
This happens. Just check this out, and then he can just rotate between the two at will.
How has this not been made into like a comic book?
I don't know.
Flatulence Man. He could go, him and Booger Man could rule the world.
Yes.
So he can just, like, he can fart and then burp, like, all in succession, or he can just choose? How does it work?
Yeah, he can control which hole the gas comes out of. And I don't know if he can do both at the same time, but he can rotate between the two.
I don't know. That's kind of dangerous. I think we may have talked about this. Like, if you burp, fart, and sneeze at the same time, I think you die.
You just explode.
Yeah, you just explode. Like, spontaneously combust, game over. The credits of your life start rolling.
Hello and welcome everyone to episode 23 of the recurring Bosscast. Wait, this is episode 23, right?
Sounds about right.
Okay, we're just gonna go with episode 23, and if I am wrong, it's all my fault. I'm Jett from SplitKick.com, and with me is Matt from Biff Band Pop and the Screaming Ego.
What's going on, guys?
Notably absent from the show is Jason, who, due to scheduling reasons, could not make it on this episode, so the black laundry basket is in effect.
Black laundry basket in effect.
Yes, what do you have to say, black laundry basket?
I agree.
Yep.
Yeah, good stuff.
Oh, dude, this is a clean podcast. You can't say that.
I thought we warned him before this.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to beep that out.
He's airing all of his dirty laundry.
Shh.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason, what a guy. So, Matt, what's going on with you?
Not too much, man. I hear we were both at the same place doing something awesome that we didn't realize we were both at the same place.
No, I had no idea that you were at the Cadillac Lounge as well for Classic Simpsons Trivia Night.
I was indeed. I had a friend of mine invite me from work. I'd never even heard of this. I never knew it was going on. And he said, oh, and you looked it up and you found out that it... Have you done it before?
So, a couple of weeks ago, Steph and I listened to this podcast and they were hyping it up. And apparently there are different branches. Toronto was the first one, but they do Chicago as well. Mm-hmm. And so... listened to it on the show, had an idea of the types of questions they'd be asking, and we said, all right, let's try this. It'll make a fun date night. And so that's why we went.
Nice. So I have to ask, because I know from my experience there, I went in thinking that I knew a lot about The Simpsons, and I knew nothing about The Simpsons. There's some pretty hardcore Simpsons fans at that thing.
Oh, for sure. And those questions are pretty intense.
They had an entire 10-question round dedicated to license plates from The Simpsons. I thought I was in another universe when they asked that. I was like, how is anybody supposed to remember this stuff? I mean, I could get some of them. I think we got Bort, the license plate Bort.
That's a gimme.
Yeah. Other than that, not so much. I literally left that place feeling like I was dumb.
For a lot of those questions, when they were looking for the answer, I could remember the episode and I could remember the scene, but I could not remember it in vivid enough detail to pull out the answer.
Yeah, exactly. But did you notice too? Okay, so for the people that are listening, they played basically a few episodes and they asked questions, then they played another episode, then they asked questions. It's kind of the format of the evening. But as soon as they started playing the episode, there were literally tables of people reciting the episodes word for word.
Yes, that was awesome.
It was crazy. And you could hear the episode going, but then you could also hear the tables. There was sort of this murmur going on. And, when Homer would scream, everybody would scream because they knew it was coming.
Or the songs would come on and everyone would sing along.
Yeah, and they all knew the words. And half of them were not bad singers, I must say.
It was really cool. They said it might have been a record night for them.
Really? Well, there were a lot of people. I mean, the Cadillac Lounge
for sure.
holds a lot of people, and it was packed.
We ended up just standing at the back bar, and we had one stool between the two of us.
Wow. So
I had to stand for about an hour before I could sit down.
Yeah, we stayed the whole night, actually. We had sit at the bar at the front, and there was a couple of stools when we got there. But yeah, we stood the whole night. So
there was a handful of questions that I got right, and the one that freaked Steph out the most, that she was just like, why would you even remember that, was the question of... what was the name of the lesbian club that Homer left because it didn't have any fire exits?
Yep. This lesbian club doesn't have any fire exits.
And I don't know what that says about me that I remembered that name, but I did.
We skirted around it, no pun intended, but we never got it.
It took me a second, then I was like, I think it's Shishi. So we wrote it down because we didn't have a better answer, and it totally turned out to be the Shishi Lounge.
And then upstairs at you like, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know what that says about me, but I got it right.
Nice. So that brought your grand total to...
I think between the 5 sets of 10, we never did better than 4 out of 10, but we never did worse than 1.5.
That's not bad. Yeah, I think in total, out of 50, I think we got about 14.
We were around that too.
And some of those were just blatant guesses that were just lucky.
Would you do it again?
You know what? I think I would probably watch a whole bunch of Simpsons and then do it again.
Okay. Now we have here all the seasons from 1 to 12.
Nice.
So I think that's all the good ones and then some of the bad ones. So we should be fine.
Yeah, and the classic trivia that we went to was only 1 through 11. Mm-hmm. So I'm really disappointed in you, Jet. You should have got more than that.
I haven't really been following The Simpsons in a while. I do have all the source material.
Yeah.
So I have no one to blame but myself for my lack of Simpsons trivia skills.
Yeah. It's funny because, like I said, man, I went in there thinking that I could rest on my laurels. Like, I could rest on what I knew from just watching it over the years. Not the case.
Not at all.
No. These people are, these people are Simpsons trivia like athletes play baseball.
So what else have been going on besides Simpsons Trivia Night?
Not a whole lot, actually. I haven't had tons of time to play video games. I have actually started actively writing about them again, though. Right. Yeah, so I've been working for Biff Bang Pop again. I wrote a couple articles, both of them on the multiplayer reveals for for Call of Duty Ghosts and for GTA 5, respectively. So, been back into the writing a little bit.
So I haven't seen the reveals for either of those yet.
Oh, man.
All I know is that Call of Duty now has girl soldiers in it.
They do. And did you watch the reveal?
No.
Oh, man, the executive producer from Infinity Ward, as he's revealing that there's girl soldiers, he does the creepiest laugh you've ever heard in your life. He's like, oh, yeah, and also now you can play as girl soldiers. And he's like, it was the worst. Yeah, it was terrible. I think
it's about time that they had girl characters in that game.
Yeah, it's funny. Both reveals for GTA and for Call of Duty are really sort of personalization heavy. So whereas before a lot of the online stuff for both of those games was simply based on you just get a random character and you go and do whatever you're doing, this is putting a lot of emphasis in both series on character customization and loadouts and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting, like changing your character's actual physical traits just as opposed to changing their weapons and whatnot.
All right. Sounds good. I think Call of Duty does have a lot of customization in it anyway, with all the things you can do with your loadouts and stuff. So I think that is a logical next step.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what players do with it, because you're going to have people that are legitimately interested in doing it, and then you're just going to have a whole bunch of trolls that are just going to try and do the weirdest things imaginable. So
the moment they give you the marijuana leaf jacket, everyone's going to have it.
Yeah, the top seller.
Yes.
They would just have to put that online. They'd sell it for like maybe 99 cents or something, and that would pay for the entire development of the game.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, writing about those. What's the big deal in GTA?
Well, GTA is basically... I'm actually really excited about it. I played a bit of the GTA 4 online, and it was okay. It was very much just like the game, except you could do it with friends, right? GTA 5 looks to be pretty interesting in that it's the entire world like it would be normally, except you can do up to 16 players. And I believe it's basically like the game. So you can set up heists, you can do, you can go out and just cause general havoc. But the best part is you can actually earn money and earn sort of experience points and whatnot from going out with your friends and doing these things. And you can use that money to upgrade your character. You can buy clothes and tattoos and all that kind of stuff. But you can also purchase property that your friends can come over and hang out in. You can buy cars and customize them and keep them in a garage that you buy. And you can take them out and street race them with your friends and all this kind of stuff. So the emphasis, I think, is very much on sort of keeping the sort of fundamental framework of GTA, being the running, gunning, shooting, and all that, and just adding a really social aspect, almost similar to like, I want to gasp and say PlayStation Home, but it looks pretty cool. I mean, it shows people, getting in groups and stealing commercial airliners and then flying them around and jumping out and parachuting into the, what looks like the Grand Canyon, and then just running around and kind of just having fun with your friends. So I think the main story is going to be awesome, but I think one of the big draws of the game is definitely going to be the online, if it works out the way it is. And there's also customization tools. You can create your own missions, you can create your own races, you can create your own, deathmatch scenarios and maps and place things on the maps. It's going to be really interesting to see how this all plays out.
Not gonna lie, I was generally uninterested in everything you said until you said you can make your own missions.
Yeah,
and that type of stuff. That's a game changer to me.
Yeah. And you not only can you make your own missions, but then you can save them to the cloud online, and other players around the world can download your missions and play them.
That is awesome.
Yeah. So
because GTA as a multiplayer game just has so much potential, and I don't know if I didn't play much GTA 4 multiplayer, but I felt like it could have. There's a lot of room for it to go very far.
Yeah, it always felt sort of bare. Like it felt like they had the idea, but they never really fleshed it out. And I think that's what they've done with this one. Or I hope that's what they've done with this one.
Excellent. And I see that there's something in the show notes about $18 baseball jerseys from Hong Kong.
Oh yeah, that's just kind of a short one. I wanted to get a Blue Jays jersey, like an older Blue Jays jersey. Toronto Blue Jays, for those of you that aren't from Toronto. That's our local baseball team. I guess you could call it baseball. They haven't really been playing baseball as of late.
$100 million later, we still suck.
Yeah, $100 million revelation. We're still awful. But yeah, so I was looking for an older jersey. I was trying to get a 92 or 93 World Series jersey.
Of course.
Yeah, obviously. And so I was looking around, and you could buy them online for hundreds and hundreds of dollars. But I was just like, you know what? I'm going to take a gamble. I'm going to see if I can just Google the cheapest jersey I can find and try and buy it. And so I found this site, apparently that was in Hong Kong, I believe. And they were offering a full, that's a name brand jersey. And it had the World Series patch, and it was a Joe Carter, and it had the numbers and name stitched on it, quote unquote authentic. And it was $18. So I figured, I'll take it. So I used PayPal. I paid the $18, and man, the site said, okay, so this should have been my first red flag. The site said they had 10,000 in stock. So I go to order it, and then I get an email probably about a day or two later, and he emails me back, and basically he says, we don't have this item in stock. Is there anything else you'd like to replace it with? So I emailed him back, and just kind of sarcastically, I said, oh, business must be good. You sold 10,000 jerseys in one day, and I said, well, I'll take, so they had a Paul Molitor jersey, who was another player from the day. So I said, I'll take that one instead. And then just sort of casually reminded him that his site said that they had 10,000 of those in stock as well. And so then about a couple days later, he emailed me back and said that they no longer had that jersey either. And so now it's just been kind of a battle back and forth to refund my $18, which I don't really hold any high expectation that I'll be seeing ever again. But yeah, it's an $18 gamble that I took. Apparently I lost, but we'll see how it goes.
Man. So speaking of gambling and the Blue Jays, that actually leads into my two next points.
Nice.
Fan Expo Canada is happening this week.
Yes, it is.
And some of the 92-93 Blue Jays will be there because they now have a sports section.
They might as well just call it Sports Expo.
So, who's going to be there from the Jays? It's Paul Molitor,
Roberto Alomar,
Tony Fernandez, and
a pitcher.
Who's that fourth guy? I can't remember.
A pitcher, I believe. I don't remember exactly who. Let me see if I can find it.
That's okay. So a bunch of Blue Jays are there. Hulk Hogan's going to be there. Cast of The Walking Dead. All sorts of other people. I'm super excited to go. The schedule came out a couple of days ago. We've got our itinerary fully lined up.
Nice.
And it's going to be super awesome. In particular, I'm hoping to get my hands on an Xbox One or PS4 controller.
Nice.
We'll see. I know that Ubisoft will be there with Assassin's Creed and maybe Watch Dogs, so I would assume that they would bring it on the latest and greatest.
Nice. Oh, by the way, Ricky Henderson.
There it is.
Yeah. Oh, and Marty Brodeur is going to be there, my favorite hockey player of all time.
Yes, sir.
So
Doug Gilmour, too?
Is he? Yeah, I guess.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Rick Vive is going to be there. Gordie Howe, Chris Chelios. Man, it is the Hockey Expo. Bobby Orr. And also Hulk Hogan. Hulkamania will be running wild at Fan Expo. Yeah, that's all I got about that.
I have a joke
about
Hulk Hogan, and my dream scenario but I don't know if it's appropriate for the show.
I will say it, and if it's not, we can edit it out.
Okay, so he has a special event happening that weekend, and if you pay, I think, $300, you are guaranteed to meet him, get a photo with him, some autographs and stuff. And I really want to have a copy of his adult tape on a VHS and have him autograph that.
Oh man, you might get a flying knee drop from that one. I don't know.
Stinky leg drop?
Yeah.
Boom.
Yeah. That might be, if you could get someone to film that and put it on YouTube, that could be, an epic YouTube hit.
Maybe if we Kickstarter that right now.
Yeah. Oh, you think we'll have it in time for the weekend?
It's only $300.
But
maybe.
he's there Saturday. That's one day. He's there on Saturday.
I just need the money before Thursday, I think.
That's true.
So, look, fans of the Bosscast, look out for this Kickstarter to try and get me to meet Hulk Hogan and get me to ask him to sign my copy of his adult tape. So I was thinking, do I get it in a VHS tape? Do I get a screen grab of it?
No, I think you got to get the VHS tape. I think it's got to be how it goes.
And one other thing, Salty Bet is ruining my life.
Why is that?
So I don't know if you've been keeping up with it of late. It is a website where it has a betting interface for fighting games.
Okay.
So it was available for Evo, and you could bet on Justin Wong versus Chris G and all that stuff. But they've recently changed their format where they're now live streaming Mugen.
Okay.
And they've got thousands of characters loaded up in this version of Mugen, and it's computer versus computer playing 24/7.
Wow.
And it is the most insane fighting game matches ever. So I'm just watching, and it's Master Chief versus Ronald McDonald. Like, of course, I've got to go put $10 on Master Chief, and then Ronald McDonald blows him up, and just the level of hype is insane.
This could be the best thing I've ever seen.
It is. Ever since it came out, it's been consistently the most popular fighting game live stream.
Oh man, this is so cool.
Who's playing right now?
It just went to commercial. It looked like, I want to say Akuma.
Okay.
And somebody else. I couldn't see. He was
so
getting
the crazy
beat.
thing is, like, over the course of a decade of Mugen existing, people have made thousands of characters, and their AI routines vary from character to character. So you might see 10 different Akumas, but they might all behave differently, and you'll never know. People will try and spot fake versions if it depends on the color scheme or how the name's spelt, but you don't know. You get a Cammy, and then she has all these crazy moves and assists pop out. My favorite moment, though, is there was a Balrog match versus some anime guy, and it was the final round.
Okay.
And Balrog was, I think, a slight life disadvantage, and the anime guy uppercuts him, and he goes flying off the screen. The game glitches out, but it's still going, so Balrog is off the screen, and the other guy's just uppercutting repeatedly, doesn't know what to do. The timer runs out, the anime guy wins, and I lose my money.
Oh! Oh, man.
You can't get that level of hype anywhere else.
No, that's true. Oh my god, dude, I have to shut this off or we won't have a podcast.
We should do that one day, just the...
Yes, I agree.
All Salty Bet Mugen commentary episode.
We just let it run and we just talk about what's happening on the screen.
Yes. Oh, man.
Yeah.
There was this other big character, I think it was a Dragon Ball Z character, who took up... He was larger than the screen. His head was cutting off at the top. And he only had 2 frames of animation. One where his arm was parallel with the ground, and one where it was at a 45-degree angle.
Oh, man.
And then the other, then they would either have him just standing upright or fallen over on his back. And it would just be the image of him tilted. And then his moves were just things shooting out of him.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
Once I signed up for an account, though, it was game over.
Yeah.
Now I've got to put the money on, and
yeah,
I'm definitely in the salt mines. I've lost about $160 in fake money.
Yeah.
On this, and I'm just waiting for my big break.
At least it's fake money.
At least, oh man, if this was real money, I would go down a very dark path. All right, so let's move on with the show. We've got an email. This one's from JJ, and he wanted to talk about some open world stuff. It's a little long, but I think this is very much worth reading. So, after listening to Matt's great GTA retrospective, I wanted to chime in briefly, bracket hopefully, on what sucks me into open world games. Having just finished Red Dead Redemption after starting it over a year ago, and actually enjoying Assassin's Creed 3, despite the mediocre feelings of most people towards it, I realized that the setting is probably the most important part of an open world game to me. I hated Assassin's Creed 2. The world felt bland and boring. How much shades of brown are there? Whereas AC3's wilderness and colonial settings sucked me in. I enjoyed the GTA games, having played quite a bit of GTA 3 and Vice City, but the cities get boring after a few hours. I often spend more time just driving around looking for jumps, which can be a ton of fun, than doing the missions, which get less fun as the game went on. But the western setting in Red Dead Redemption felt so much more alive and unpredictable, and I'm not even much of a western guy. Riding your horse around this huge world, with the sun setting in the distance and the animals crossing your path, never got old. While the missions did get very repetitive, clear this fort, go get this safe from these bandits, etc., the world was so much fun to explore. There were corners of it I never saw in my time there. The same goes for Skyrim. I barely touched the western half of the map in all my hours there, but the world was so fun to explore, and in both Skyrim and Red Dead, there were always the chance that I would run across bandits robbing a family, or that I'd get attacked by a pack of wolves. That unpredictability made the world more fun. So setting can make or break an open world game for me. The more alive and unpredictable the world is, the better.
Totally agree.
It is absolutely a huge part of what makes or breaks an open world game.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that being said, one thing that I don't think was mentioned there, when I went through GTA, one of the GTAs, I can't remember which one it was. Probably, I think 3 was gigantic. San Andreas was gigantic. 4 was a little smaller. I just remember exactly what he's saying. I remember the world's getting a little repetitive, and even though you were doing different things and going around, you were always kind of going through the same places. One thing that I really liked, and one game that I really liked, was Sleeping Dogs, because Sleeping Dogs took you out of that sort of New York-ish style of area and dropped you into, it was Hong Kong, right? And yes. It was great. It was a beautiful city, but it was different than a lot of the games that I'd played before. And even though there were repetitive settings and were repetitive things in that city, just the idea of being in a different city, being in Hong Kong as opposed to, your New York or your LA, made the game a lot more fun to me.
For sure. The dream game I've been waiting for is GTA.
Toronto?
Grand Theft Auto, Greater Toronto area. I think it would be incredible. You get the downtown core, you get Etobicoke, Scarborough.
Yeah. Scarborough is the worst.
Scarborough's the worst area.
That's where all the gangs are.
You get the rich people up in North York, Richmond Hill.
You get like the Bridle Path and all those places with all the big houses and cars.
I think we have it all here.
We do. You know what? We need to stop your GTA Chinatown drug wars petition and start the GTA petition.
And we have the perfect mayor for it.
Oh man, we do. He's a perfect character of himself. He's literally a character of himself.
And you get to play the level where you are the guy selling Rob Ford the crack that he smoked in the video.
Oh,
boom.
Dude, this could be it. This could be that's it. This could be the best game. This could be the best game of the year. in whatever year it comes out.
So GTA, book it.
Yeah. Keep it on your radars. No, but I fully do agree with JJ, especially at the last part where he said especially when he's talking about Red Dead and saying how, he could run across bandits robbing a family or get attacked by wolves. I remember playing Red Dead, and I remember one of the big things for me in that game was hunting. And I would go on like these gigantic hunting, missions and just kind of hang out in the forest for an hour and wait for a bear to walk by. Had nothing to do with the game, had nothing to do with anything in the story, but I just wanted to do it. And you could do it, so I did it, and it was fun. You know what I mean?
Get it.
It's not linear. You can do whatever you like.
Open.
Yes.
I'm sure we will be talking about more open world games. Actually, I see between both of us, we do have some open world stuff. I think we did talk. Well, we'll get to that. So I guess while we're talking about open worlds, I finished Saints Row the Third.
Amazing. What'd you think?
4 is out. Martin's got a review. He thinks it wasn't really the Saints Row game he was looking for.
Okay.
I think listening back to what I said about Saints Row the Third last time, I was probably a bit too early in, to form an opinion, because I think its humor did not really set in at that point. And so I kind of feel like I get it now, why people like that game so much, and it's not necessarily because of the mechanics, it's because of these crazy scenarios and the really funny writing, and it just gets more ridiculous. I couldn't have predicted where that game ultimately ended.
Yeah, sort of semi-spoilers. You beat the game and then, or I guess you kind of beat the game and then the last episode where you're in space.
Yes.
Totally threw me for a loop. Like, I had no idea what was going on, And then, and then it all comes together at the end in a kind of a twist. But, yeah, sort of threw me off. But that's what I liked about it. It didn't take itself seriously, and it, sort of made fun of itself the whole way.
Yeah, so I think that once I stopped nitpicking about the nuances of shooting, which was fine, it just wasn't remarkable, or the driving. I mean, that was fine too, but just play it and have fun. And for that, it was awesome.
And that's really what Saints Row is all about. I mean, it's basically the lighthearted Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, for sure. Are you planning on getting Saints Row 4?
I am definitely planning on getting it. Yeah, I'm interested to see what happens. I haven't read the review yet, though.
Okay.
So
I think
I'm going to stay away from it until I actually play it.
All right, sounds good. I think he is on the lower end of the scale.
Okay.
I think it's just more of I get his points are valid. Of this wasn't necessarily the Saints Row game he wanted to play, but I can see how other people would really like this as well.
When he says it's not the Saints Row game he's looking to play, is he comparing it to other Saints Row games, or just what his expectations were?
He wanted less Crackdown.
Okay, fair enough. Well, yeah, I'm going to play it anyway. I'll see what it's like. I kind of don't really expect a whole lot, so I may have a higher score for it.
Okay. Are you reviewing that for Biff Band Pop, or just playing it to play it?
You know what? It actually might end up being a bit of both, now that I'm kind of back into it. I will probably end up reviewing it for Biff Band Pop, yeah.
Cool. I am in no rush to play that game, having just finished the third one, but once it goes on sale, I'll probably pick it up.
Yeah, for sure. And guaranteed, and if, maybe a year or so, it'll hit the Steam sale or it'll do something. So
I've also played the new indie hotness. I don't know, does it count as indie? Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons?
Yeah, I think it does.
I mean, it's 505 games, and
well,
I don't...
we'll count it.
I don't even know what counts as indie versus not anymore. It is an indie style game of lots of walking and a gameplay mechanic.
It's a go on a hike simulator.
Yes, so it is like Journey but with gameplay. I mean,
So then you loved it, just like you loved Journey.
I can see where this game can get cool. I think it's really neat that they have. It's a dual stick adventure game where each stick controls two different characters, and it does a lot of cool things with that mechanic. I can tell that this might be a little too artsy fartsy for me.
Right.
And maybe I'll get around to it eventually, but right now, no, not for me. I can see why a lot of people do like it, though, and I think I probably enjoyed what I played of that demo more than what I enjoyed from Journey.
Yep.
I beat... complete opposite end of the spectrum, I beat Modern Warfare 3, and I didn't like that game.
No,
I thought that campaign was really dull.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I'm just trying to think now. I guess this will be spoilers too. Is that at the end where you crash through the skylight and you end up smoking the cigar?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I find that the single player in Call of Duty, in any Call of Duty game really, is just sort of filler for the multiplayer.
I get that a lot of people aren't playing that game for the single player, but Modern Warfare, the first one, has an excellent single player mode.
Yeah.
And I think even Black Ops I thought was pretty good. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed that one a lot, and coming into this one, I just felt like it was very paint by numbers.
Well, it's totally on rails, right? Like, and and I think specifically you can really feel it in Modern Warfare 3.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's that. It's just all right, here's the shock value moment where we kill the character. Here's the big explosion thing. Here's the part where you have to make that precision shot, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's just like minor variations of that again. Here's the AC 130-bit, though it's slightly different this time around. And
yeah.
Yeah. I started playing that again because I bought Black Ops 2 for the Wii U for $10. So I figured I had to fast track that one in my queue.
Nice.
So at some point I will play Black Ops 2 and let you guys know how that is on the Wii U if anyone cares. Probably not, but...
They're all just like, I'm just playing multiplayer. I don't care.
Yeah. I had all 500 people left on that online multiplayer.
Yeah. Just a random fact, I don't let myself play multiplayer until I finish the single-player campaign on Call of Duty games.
All right. That sounds like a good thing to do. I was the same way as well.
Yeah, because the thing is, I figure I'm paying the money for it. I might as well beat the game. And I know that if I start playing multiplayer, I won't get around to playing the single player. So I make myself play the single player before I play the multiplayer.
And the last game I played, does this count as an open world game, Dishonored?
I don't know if it's so much open world as it is just sort of like a non-linear, you can sort of choose the way you do it.
But there's still linear missions.
Yeah, there's still linear missions, but it's open in the sense that you can sort of choose the way you complete them, right?
Or attack, yes.
So I would say it's somewhat of an open world game.
So I picked this up because it was one of the most highly critically acclaimed games last year, and I picked it up primarily for academic purposes.
Okay.
And I know that I don't like stealth games, and at the beginning I thought that this totally wasn't the game for me. I killed pretty much everyone in that prison. It said that my chaos rating was high, and I almost gave up. I felt like the game was indirectly telling me that I was stupid the entire time.
Yeah.
And after that first mission, I started to get into a rhythm of it. I still killed a lot of people, but I'm about halfway through, and it says my chaos rating is still low. So I guess I am doing something right.
Nice.
And I'm really enjoying the openness of the scenarios and how you can attack. I just finished the Lady Boyle mission.
Nice, yeah.
And I thought that one was really cool. At one point, I had all three of them in the room, and I thought to myself, I could just start shooting and take out all of them and run, or I could try and deduce which one it is and go from there.
Yeah.
And I thought it was really cool how that was all set up. Though I did have an issue with how that all played out. So I ended up going with the non-lethal route, and I'd taken care of everything. All I had to do was leave. But the game had glitched out in a way where Mothman?
Yeah, Mothman.
Mothman was blocking the doorway, and he was not moving anywhere. And the only way for me to get out was to shoot him and run. So otherwise I would have gone that entire thing without killing anyone, but because the game glitched, I had to kill him.
Oh, that's a shame.
That was kind of a bummer.
Yeah. I found that when I played through Dishonored the first time, I actually ended up playing through it about once and a half. And the first time I played through it, I killed everything. Like I don't think there was a character alive, and if I could have killed myself, I probably would have. And then I kind of ran through the whole, and it only took me like maybe 5 hours or something to get through the entire game. And I initially I think I gave it a bad review because I was like, there's not really much to it. It's kind of boring. But then when I went back and played it again for the second time, I said, you know what? Forget it. I'm going to do it. Really stealthy. I'm going to try and sort of do things the right way. And it literally, like, if you're just going through that game shooting blindly and trying to just make your way through the levels, you're really not experiencing the game at all. It's the idea of using all of those powers to, like manipulate things around you and get through the level in a stealth way or take over people and get them to do things for you and, vice versa. It's so much better of a game if you use it the way it's sort of quote unquote intended to be used, which is, you do all these things to get through the level in creative ways. So like I said, I made it through about halfway through the game again, and it was almost like I was playing a completely different game.
I can totally see that. It's great that they technically give you the option to play it stealthy or fight it out all the way through, but really you shouldn't be fighting it out all the way through. You're so underpowered to go that way, and there's worse. I don't know what the ending is, but apparently it is a worse outcome, and it's such an uphill battle trying to fight in any scenario in that game, but if you play it stealthy, it is so much more rewarding and works in your favor if you're patient and willing to use the tools that you've got.
Yeah, exactly.
So there totally is a right way to play that game, even if they try and tell you, play it however you want.
Yeah, exactly. Like, if you run and gun, you're not experiencing the game. I mean, really, that's it. Like, you can play it that way, but then it just becomes sort of a, shooter and whatever. It doesn't really have the impact it does if you actually do it the way it's intended to be played.
So what else have you got going on? We talked a little bit about GTA, though I don't know if you've got anything else you wanted to add to that.
Well, no, actually, like I said, I haven't really had tons of time to be playing to play any games this week or last week, that matter. But I got GTA 4 in the Steam sale, and I got it solely for the purpose of putting like graphic mods and stuff into it to see how nice I could make the game look. And as it stands right now, I've got it looking. I would say it's fantastic, but it looks really good. Really high res, total texture overhaul. Everything's like almost photorealistic. I'm pretty sure my computer is going to blow up at some point. But so I haven't really been doing any missions with it. More just kind of cranking the textures and visuals, and just kind of running around like an idiot and driving things. So there's that. And also, I've been taking my MLB 13 on the Vita with me, kind of back and forth to work. And last week, I won the World Series with my BA Pro creative player. I know.
Congrats.
Thank you. And it is hard as hell. I'll tell you that right now. And the thing that makes it so hard is, have you played any of the MLB series, like the show? So I don't know about anybody else that's played it. And if you've played it and this is different, let us know by all means. But I find that if you have a crappy game, your team has a crappy game, regardless of how good the other players on your team are. So if you're up like 12-0 and you have the bases loaded and you strike out, it's like the next inning they'll get 15 runs. And it's extremely, it's really unnerving. And I know that I've lost a ton of games just like that. And it's kind of weird because it's like your entire team's performance rides on whether or not you strike out in the 6th inning. So there's that, and it's sort of difficult to get through the playoffs. And if you strike out, then your team loses, and then you can only lose a certain amount of games, and yada yada. So I count winning the World Series in MLB 13 as one of my better gaming achievements.
Awesome. I can see how that's difficult, especially when one player, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really have all that. Yeah,
exactly. It's a team for a reason.
Yes. I mean, I played a lot of NBA 2K13 in, I guess, the equivalent of be a player mode, but I was on the court all the time, and I got to score a whole bunch of baskets and play some lockdown defense. But when it's baseball, you catch a few pop flies and you get 3 times to hit the ball.
Exactly.
And that's it. And somehow that determines the rest of the outcome of the game.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
It's strange. Oh, and they've sort of made the transition. I guess the length of the games a lot quicker, because in MLB 12 for Vita, the loading times were awful. Like you could only play maybe like 1 game, maybe 2 games in like a 20-minute ride. It was just loading. It loaded all the time, and between your at-bats it would load, and then after your at-bats it would load. And it got to the point where I was literally skipping. I wouldn't play the field. I wouldn't run the bases. All I would do is hit, and I would still only get about 2 games in one subway ride. So trying to get through an entire 80 or 60 game season was quite a haul. But yeah, so like I said, World Series, Matt Langford, number 92, Minnesota Twins. And I broke a few records as well, home run record and a couple other records. So,
how many dingers did you hit?
Oh, it was ridiculous. I think I was on steroids. If I could be on virtual steroids, I think I was. It was in the 90s.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did you pay for that steroids DLC?
No, I didn't. It's all natural. My guy's like 6 seasons in, so all of his attribute points are for real. It's all natural.
Didn't have to write an asterisk on that 90-second home run ball.
Yeah, no. I think once I hit 80, they'd have been testing me every day, so good thing it wasn't real life.
So what have you been playing, Laundry Basket?
Oh, yeah, I like that game. That's a good game.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you feel that way. I've seen a lot of reviews, and they're a bit mixed.
It's true. Oh, you did like Journey. Oh, fantastic.
Would you say that it's the Citizen Kane of video games? Yeah.
Oh. Well, there you go. Citizen Kane of video games.
Yep, Ducktales Remastered.
Yeah.
Get it?
Yeah, you all heard it here.
So, Jason was kind enough to lend us some notes on Ducktales Remastered, which he has beaten, and he's reviewing for, I believe, Inside Gaming Daily.
He's already beaten it, eh?
Yes.
That's a good achievement. Because apparently it's just as hard as it was back in the day.
So he does say it's a faithful adaptation. Ooh, I screwed that up really bad.
You got
It's a faithful adaptation of the original game and the Disney TV series. The nostalgia of it all grabs you from the very moment you turn the game on. I got goosebumps down my neck when the 8-bit version of Ducktales theme started playing. He really liked how it stayed true to the original game. Jumping around on Scrooge's cane and bashing all sorts of enemies is still satisfying and challenging. There's a bunch of stuff to unlock. He loves the music and the sound effects, and he says it blends the old and the new flawlessly.
Which is really all you can ask for.
Yes.
There's a lot of diehard fans of the original, and I know a lot of people weren't excited about the remake simply because it was a remake. But I've heard pretty positive reviews, although IGN only gave it a 7.
Well, that's still good.
And it's still good, but it's not...
and that's on the higher end of the scale for some of the reviews I've seen.
That's true. I mean, 7 is still like a go out and play it. So, I haven't had a chance to play it yet, but I am looking forward to it. Have you played it yet?
No, I have not. So I ultimately cannot say if it's any good or not, but yeah, the reviews have been, in general, mixed. I don't know if that's they stayed too true to the original, and the new people coming in just aren't, like, it didn't age very well, or if they changed too much of it that the diehard fans are like, this isn't the DuckTales I used to know.
I think it's kind of a mix of all those. I know that they changed some of the boss level mechanics, and I know that that's got some people up in arms. But really, as far as I know, as I said, I haven't played it, but I have watched a couple reviews on it, and they've added difficulty to some of the bosses, which I think that makes a lot of people a little upset as well. It's almost like, making Mike Tyson more invincible in Punch-Out. So I don't know. I think ultimately I'm gonna have to play it to get to figure it out.
As of recording, Metacritic has it at a 76.
That's not bad.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
For an NES remake, that's not bad.
I've got my downloadable game money set on Dive Kick, which comes out this week.
Dive Kick?
Yes. It is a fighting game with only one move.
And can I guess what it is?
Yes.
Is it an uppercut?
No.
Oh, is it a dive kick?
Yes.
Oh, amazing. Okay, got it. Okay, now I'm looking this up. Dive kick?
Yes. So it started out as a joke. One of the guys from SRK, Keats, who also hosts Wake Up SRK and the organizer of UFGT, they cut a trailer for this theoretical game about dive kicks because there's been an ongoing trend of dive kick characters in fighting games, and the fundamental problem with dive kicks in fighting games is that no one has really designed any sort of moves or gameplay mechanics to stop a dive kick. So, if a character has a dive kick, odds are they're going to be really good because no one can stop a dive kick in any game.
Right. Just like in real life.
Yes. I mean, if someone had jumped straight up in the air and just came hurtling down at me, I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably just take a kick in the face.
It's based on real life mechanics.
So, it started out as a joke, and then they started developing it. They had a Kickstarter going, and then they canceled the Kickstarter because they actually got picked up by a publisher, and just been building the game from there.
Apparently the main characters are dive and kick.
Yes.
I love it.
And it's a 2-button fighting game, so there's a button to jump in the air, or as they call it, dive, and then the other button to kick.
Yeah, that's pretty much all you need.
So, I mean, we'll see how that goes. I'm really excited to play it. It's been a big hit at fighting games or fighting game tournaments where it's appeared. And I'll probably be writing a Kickstarter guide to that one at some point.
Wow. Okay, so I'm just going to say here, it says the game features a health bar for each player, but it's only there for humorous and stylistic purposes as you lose the round after being hit only once, though the game will randomly give out perfects even on a double KO. And it also features a single-player story mode. A single-player story mode full of diving and kicking.
Yes.
And online multiplayer.
Oh, for sure. I can't wait to wreck fools in Dive Kick.
Oh, and there's also headshots. You can win a round by kicking an opponent directly in the head. It'll be considered concussed, and you win by headshot.
And actually, in the following round, the guy is still dizzy, and he does not move as quickly when he's in a dizzy state.
2 headshots in a row is a double kill. 3 in a row is a multi-kill. 4 in a row declares on a rampage, and getting all 5 headshots is referred to a total domination. I don't know anybody that could withstand 5 direct dive kick headshots.
So I was kind of hoping that we'd segue directly from DuckTales into our topic of the week. But
that didn't happen.
That's okay. So
Tim, dive kick?
Yes. New topic of the week. We're just going to talk about dive kick and the history of dive kicks and the best dive kicks in video games.
Yeah, it's a 10-episode spectacular.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2, the arcade game, has some great dive kicks.
It does.
Because, one of the original dive kicks. You jump in the air and then just on that 45-degree angle, come down and kick some foot soldiers in the face.
And there's no defense at all.
So, no, we're actually talking about sleeper hits on the NES, inspired by the release of DuckTales, which is kind of a sleeper hit in itself. It is not on the level of a Mario or a Castlevania in terms of popularity, but man, people love that game.
Oh, yeah.
So, we've got a list of sleeper hit games that I think mean a lot to us. Matt, we will start with you. First one on your list.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and it's a game that I used to play with my brother, actually. Pretty much every game I used to play with my brother. And it's Rampart.
Okay, that is I have not played Rampart. Shame on me. It's a kind of... not like... It's an overhead game, and you pick like a barbarian dude or a mage, and you fight things, ghosts and stuff?
No, that's not it. That's a game that I think sounds like that, but it's not. Rampart is a castle building siege simulator.
Okay, I'm completely off it. What am I thinking of then?
I'm pretty sure that's what it is, because that's what I was thinking it was.
Okay, I see a picture of an overhead castle thing.
Yeah,
great.
So Rampart is basically you build a castle, and it's all done sort of with blocks and whatnot, but it's overhead. So you do it sort of you can build a fortification wall, and then you can put cannons and guns and whatnot. And the idea is you have to defend your castle from ships that are coming in and shooting at you, and your castle has to in turn destroy the ships on the other end. So very kind of simple, but the addictive part of the game is essentially trying to build a better castle every time and trying to make it last longer, and obviously outlasting whoever you're playing against. So I don't know if it's so much like a sleeper hit as it got popular later on, but it was definitely a sleeper hit as I knew nothing about it when I first found out about it, and it quickly became kind of like a hit with myself and all of our friends. So
I remember seeing this box all the time at Jumbo Video, and I never did pick it up. But I looking at this in hindsight, I don't think I would have enjoyed it then. I feel like I would enjoy this now.
It's really cool. You can actually, I think it's on Virtual Console.
Oh,
and it's definitely on, you can get it for Game Boy and like Game Boy Advance, I think. You can probably get it on the Nintendo Store on the 3DS too. Not exactly awesome. Graphic intensive.
So I'm going to pick a couple off of Jason's list that I cannot contribute to at all. Astyanax?
Astyanax.
So I clicked on the Wikipedia link he left, and it is a side-scrolling beat-em-up style game.
It looks like Ghouls and Ghosts.
Kind of like that. Oh, man, Jason's going to kill us for this. I don't know. I've never played this game.
He's going to listen to this, and he'll be like screaming at his radio. Oh, my God.
It was the greatest game ever. You fought...
He's like, it's not Astyanax, it's Astyanax.
Yeah. I just see a dude with an axe, and he's hitting something. In the Wikipedia page. Oh, man, Jason, I'm so sorry. And Little League Baseball, I'm assuming baseball with Little Leaguers. There were a lot of NES baseball games. I was looking at that list. So many of them.
Yeah.
I can't contribute to why that was a sleeper hit. Matt, did you play that one at all?
No, but I did play RBI Baseball.
Okay.
So
let's
kind of,
that one.
I guess kind of the same thing. I don't really know how Little League Baseball played or what it was like, but RBI Baseball, in my opinion, just because it was a sports game on Nintendo, they weren't really the best sports games simply because they didn't really have the power to do anything. But yeah, RBI Baseball was basically you had to move all of your fielders in the same direction at the same time to catch a ball. So like your pitcher, your first, your second, your third base, or your pitcher, your outfielders, everything, they would all move at the same time. So, but yeah, again, my brother and I, we would sit there and play that for hours. And I know that, again, like just with our friends, and I guess even with a lot more people, I'd eventually find out that a lot of people played that game.
A lot of people did.
But you could only play it locally. You couldn't play it, obviously, online or anything, but you couldn't play it. And you could only it was like 2 players, so one guy would bat, one guy would, field or whatever, but it was fun. You could play an entire 9-inning game. It was like the first sort of marathon game, I think, that I played sports-wise.
I have a baseball game on my list, too. Baseball Simulator 1000.
Baseball Simulator.
So what made this different was that you were playing as robots, and you could equip them with crazy abilities. In particular, the pitches could be crazy. Like, you could throw a corkscrew pitch where it would actually, like, spin around like a corkscrew all the way up to the plate.
Okay.
And otherwise it was baseball. But it had all cool things like that. I think there were special powers for hitters and fielders, too. I could be wrong, but I remember the crazy pitching, and that's why it's on this list.
Yeah, so it says you could do the Harvester, which allowed outfielders to catch missile and spinner balls. The Super Jump allowed your outfield to run and jump higher in the air to catch hits that would normally be home runs. You could make your players run faster. You could do the Tremor Hit, which caused an earthquake on the first bounce. Oh, man, this sounds awesome.
Yes, my friends and I played a lot of that one as well. So back to Jason's list. While we're talking about sports, he's got ice hockey on here.
Ice hockey was actually pretty good.
I don't think Blades of Steel would count as a sleeper hit.
No, that's pretty good.
But I would say ice hockey totally counts.
Yeah, I think ice hockey counts for sure.
And that was the one where you could play as skinny or fat dudes, and you could pick?
Yeah.
Yes. That is what I remember that game for.
That's all you remember.
I just ran team all fat dudes, because why not?
It's basically, it is Blades of Steel. Like, realistically, it is. It's the same exact mechanics. Your goalie could, like, move up and down, and that's it. And, yeah, and it was skinny dudes versus fat dudes. That we can't forget that.
So, Jason, did you play all skinny dudes, all fat dudes, or a mix?
All fat dudes. No.
He likes big butts, and he cannot lie.
Other brothers can't deny.
All right, name another one off your list.
What else do I have here? I have Blaster Master.
Okay.
I don't know why I remember this game so vividly, but literally it's probably one of the most, well, like I said, it's one of the most vivid memories of NES gaming that I have. And I don't know why. I just remember you could ride the 2-wheeler little cart and shoot all over the place, and then you could take this tiny little guy and he jumped out of the top, and then you could climb up ladders and stuff, and yeah. I don't even really remember having all that fun with it now that I think of it, but I just remember that game, and I just remember playing it a lot.
Yeah, going through the list of all the NES games, there were a lot of games that I played, and a lot of games that I enjoyed at the time, but would I call them a sleeper hit now? Probably not. Like, I played a lot of Rampage. Is that a good game? At this point, probably not.
No.
I mean, we could do a whole episode on games we played. I think we should do that as a show topic of just the crappy games we played as a kid because we didn't know better.
That's kind of what this turned into. It's like, it's not so much sleeper hits, more it's just games we remember playing that we don't think a lot of other people played.
I would say, though, at least we picked good games.
Yeah, for sure. And if you have not tried one of the games that we've played, definitely try it.
Here's one that is very near and dear to my heart, and I have a feeling no one knows this one. Air Fortress.
Oh, I thought you were going with Chippendale's Rescue Rangers. I was going to say everybody knows that one.
Everyone knows that one. But Air Fortress is an old NES game made by, I believe it was HAL. So this is a first-party game. And the premise of it is that you are this guy, and you have to blow up assorted air fortresses. So the first part of the game is a 2D shoot-'em-up type level where you're flying through space and you're shooting enemies.
Okay.
And then you dock on the air fortress. And from there, it's an open world 2D action game where you have to fight your way through the base. You have to blow up either one or two of the air fortress's cores and then get on your ship and get out of there before it explodes.
Wow.
So it made this interesting. It was a pretty open world, and you had to blow up the cores, but once you blew up the cores, you only had a limited amount of time to get to your ship.
Okay.
And so the way it worked was that you had to go fight through these bad guys, find your ship, you have to know where that is, then kill the cores, and then remember how to go from the final core that you destroyed back to your ship.
So it's like a maze built into a game.
Yes.
Interesting. I'm actually watching gameplay footage of it right now.
It's really interesting, and I thought pretty advanced for the time.
Yeah.
And it also has a soft spot in my heart because it was a very passing of the torch type game. Because this is one of the first games I got into, and probably the last video game my dad got into.
Okay.
So, I mean, I used to watch him play this game all the time. And yeah, our family would just all get together, my mom, dad, and uncles who lived with us, and we'd all sit around the TV and watch him play Air Fortress, trying to get towards the end of the game, and we never did get to the end.
Uh-huh.
I think about a decade later, I loaded up on an emulator, and he tried it out and beat it once and for all.
Nice.
And that was very...
Got his retribution.
Yes.
Yeah, very cathartic.
He was very bitter about that for many years, that he never beat that game.
Right.
Air Fortress is also the source of one of my most dramatic video game moments growing up, where I borrowed my cousin's NES at the time.
Okay.
And I beat the first level of that game. And it was the first level I'd ever beaten in a video game all by myself. So, of course, as a little kid, I got super excited. I jumped up and down, started running up and down the living room, excited that I beat this level. And then, in the process, I inadvertently kicked his NES and broke it.
No.
Yes.
Oh, you're an NES breaker.
Sorry, Ellis.
I think he forgives you. It's been a few years.
Well, I mean, after that, he didn't really get into video games.
Oh my god, you ruined his entire video game life.
There is probably an alternate history version of my cousin who was super into video games had I not kicked his NES.
It all goes back to Jack getting happy over beating level 1 of Air Fortress.
Yeah, he got a Sega Genesis and maybe 3 games, but wasn't really into it and then never really played again.
Wow.
So, I don't know. Maybe
he could have been the best Air Fortress player ever.
Could have.
If you hadn't broken his Nintendo.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm watching Air Fortress. It doesn't look that bad. Actually, looks kind of fun.
It's really, really smart and a lot of fun.
Do you ever notice that it looked a lot like a cross between Metroid, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Super Mario Brothers?
Kind of. I'm pretty sure Air Fortress predates Metroid.
Does it?
I'm pretty sure it does.
So then Metroid looks like Air Fortress. That's
Yes.
a Bosscast revelation right there.
Boom. You heard it here first.
And there were tubes in the space stations that looked like Super Mario Brothers tubes.
Yep, the elevators you could ride up or down.
Yeah, I'm getting way too into this.
We've got a bunch of other stuff from Jason's list here. I see Adventure Island. I've played a lot of Adventure Island.
Yeah.
I like that game.
Yeah, me too.
I don't think I love it, but I enjoyed playing it. You're the dude in the grass skirt, and you ride on a skateboard at some points.
Yeah, that's right.
Yep. That was a fun one. I see he's got Life Force on here. That one's really great sleeper hit pick. It was one of the best 2D side-scrolling shoot-'em-up games ever. I think that was the one with the mechanic where you could collect different power-ups, and based on the set you have, it comes out with a different weapon.
I think so, yeah.
I believe that was the gimmick of it. And then his last one, which arguably does not count as a sleeper hit anymore due to, I guess, how that game has aged. River City Ransom.
And they made a remake of it recently, didn't they?
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember my friend Gandhi was the biggest River City Ransom fan. When we started hanging out and playing video games, he was like, yo, there's this one game. You've got to try it. It's River City Ransom. It's like the secret best NES game that no one is talking about. I said, oh, okay. And this went on for a couple of months until I finally went over to his house and played it. And went, oh man, this is amazing. It's like Double Dragon, but with RPG mechanics, and you could level up and buy stuff and get better as you go, and the worlds were pretty open. Just really novel.
You could argue that it is a sleeper hit simply for the fact that it had a remake in like the late 2000s or whatever.
It took a really long time for people to catch on to the awesomeness of that game.
Yeah, it was a really long sleeper hit.
And is there anything else on his list? So yeah, the other one on my list, Chippendales Rescue Rangers. If you like DuckTales, play Chippendales Rescue Rangers, because that is also another excellent platformer from Capcom.
Also extremely hard.
License. Also extremely hard.
Yeah, really, really hard.
I never beat that game, but I played the heck out of it back then.
Yeah. Funny story, actually. Liza and I, when she was living with her parents, she had a Nintendo, and one of the games she had was Chippendale Rescue Rangers, and we would sit there and play it together. So that's how I know it was extremely hard.
You could play that 2 players simultaneous co-op, right?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, both you guys. Yeah, as Chip and Dale.
Sweet. I would love for that to come out next as a remake.
Yeah, an HD remake.
Yeah, Disney had some bangers back in the day.
Yep.
I think the one in particular that stands out for me is Aladdin.
Oh, Aladdin was great.
Yes. Which version did you play? SNES or Genesis?
Sega Genesis.
Okay.
Yeah.
I played the SNES one.
And they were totally different.
Yes, and they were both great.
Yeah, they were both great. I didn't have any experience with the NES one, though.
Oh,
I think, actually, it's a lie. I think I did, but then I realized that it was totally different, and then I didn't play it. But I had a ton of fun with the Genesis one.
Maybe next time we will talk about Disney games, and that would make a great topic, because Disney Infinity's out this week, I believe.
Yeah.
Or it just came out by the time people hear this.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it.
We'll have to talk about
Opportunity squandered. Maybe next time.
Or
I don't have any plans on buying it anytime soon.
No, me neither.
I do like the Skylanders, but I don't have room in my budget right now for that.
Yeah.
And, it's going to be so expensive.
Yeah.
Especially, even the toys are more expensive than the Skylanders ones.
Oh, man.
But we'll see.
Yeah. Next we could talk about Aladdin and where he got all of his apples to throw.
So many apples.
He didn't even have any, his pants were baggy, but not 200 apples baggy.
No.
No.
I think that is a good place to wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have any sleeper NES hits you would like us to mention on the show, email us at bosscast@splitkick.com. Or if you want to talk about more open world stuff like JJ did, email us at the same place. Matt, what do you got going on?
So I just wrote, and they're both up now. They're the reveals for the GTA, as I was talking about earlier, the GTA 5 online and Call of Duty Ghosts multiplayer reveals. So basically just sort of what's going on with those and what to expect. So those are both up on Biff Bam Pop. And my GTA retrospective that I have been sort of writing away at for the last little bit. It started as a small article and kind of became this gigantic opus that still isn't finished. It should be up, I would say, by the time this goes live. So hopefully you can check that out on Biff Bam Pop.
For me, actually, let's start with Jason. He's got a Ducktales Remastered video review. So if you would like more details on that, straight from the horse's mouth. Not to call him a horse because he is a laundry basket, as we all know. Straight from the laundry basket's opening. Check that out. For me, I've got a Kickstart guide to Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 in the works.
Nice.
That may or may not be out by the time this show goes live. If you would like to check out my personal blog, inthirdperson.com, I write about video game stuff there too. In particular, you may want to check out my editorial called Now With Less Suck, A History of Xbox One Backtracking. Because, yeah, they recently pulled support for Kinect from that thing.
Yeah.
I hate the Kinect, and that's a great move for me personally. I don't think that was a great move overall.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, I think that if they wanted people to care about the Kinect, it should have been mandatory, and now that it's not anymore, it's just another piece of junk.
I think if they wanted people to care about the Kinect, it should have been useful.
But maybe it was this time, and now they're cutting it off at the knees.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's the same thing PlayStation's doing too, though.
Well, at least they don't force you to buy the camera.
No, they don't, but in the same vein, then, developers won't develop for it.
Yeah,
it's kind of a nasty circle, right?
They did not have nearly as much skin in the game on that front.
No, that's true. But I mean, for either of them, really, if it's not sold with the console, then developers won't develop for it because it's a smaller market right off the bat, right?
So to Microsoft's credit, it's still packed in, but I gotta believe it's only a matter of time before they have the version of that system without the Kinect packed in.
Oh yeah, that's right. It is packed in with the Xbox.
For now.
Yeah, for now. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Other things going on Split Kick. There is a Gone Home review by the one and only Adam Bash. It's been a while since we've heard from him, so definitely check that out. The Saints Row 4 review by Martin. He was a little disappointed by it. Nerd Culture Rising by Jeff. He talks about MOBAs, and I guess how he's not that big of a fan or understands that whole scene. Admittedly, I don't either. I have a coworker who's really big into Dota 2, and the International happened recently. We sat down at his desk and we watched one of the matches, and he tried to explain to me all of the different things going on, like the 3 lanes, and here's the flow of the match, and you want to level up these things and farm stuff out. I don't know.
And then he looked over at you and you were asleep.
Just let me go watch some more Salty Bet, damn it.
I have 10 fake dollars riding on this match.
We've also got another review from Jeff, The Raven, Summoner Wars board game review by John Wells, Let's Play Bandit Kings of Ancient China. I believe it's part 9 by Kurt. And Dragon's Crown. That was reviewed by Jim. Don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes and leave us a 5-star review while you're at it. And on Twitter, you can find us at Matty Lang, at JJasicki, at JetLandicho, and at SplitKitCom. So until next time, insert moon theme here.
DuckTales, woo!